There's a metal that's been in your phone, your solar panel, and your grandmother's jewelry box. But it's not gold. It's the metal that quietly built empires, crashed markets, and might be more valuable than we think. So what is the real value of silver? Stick around, because the answer is stranger than you'd expect. Let's go back 2,500 years to find out. In ancient Greece and Rome, silver coins weren't a luxury. They were everyday money, the drachma, the denarius. Gold was for storing wealth. Silver was for actually spending it. Silver was the people's metal, the original everyday currency. Fast forward to the 1500s, and one mountain changed everything. Cerro Rico in Potosi, Bolivia, produced so much silver, it funded the Spanish Empire. The Spanish phrase, vale un Potosi, meant something was worth a fortune. The silver coin minted there, the Spanish dollar, or piece of 8, became the world's first global currency. It circulated from European ports to Asian trading posts to American colonies. For centuries, silver wasn't just money, it was the connective tissue of global trade. Then America entered the picture. In 1792, the U.S. Coinage Act made both gold and silver the backbone of the dollar. This was called bimetallism, 2 metals, 1 currency system. But in 1873, Congress quietly demonetized silver. Farmers and workers called it the crime of 73, and they were furious. It sparked the free silver movement, a political firestorm over who controlled money. In 1896, William Jennings Bryan gave his famous Cross of Gold speech, defending silver as the people's money. Silver wasn't just an investment back then. It was a cause people marched for. But silver's role in everyday money was already fading. By 1965, the U.S. Mint removed silver from dimes and quarters completely. Prices had risen so much that the metal in the coin was worth more than the coin itself. That single policy change ended silver's 2,000-year run as everyday money. So if pre-1965 coins are pure silver, does that make them rare collectibles? Not exactly. Most are valuable for their metal content, not rarity. It's easy to confuse old with valuable, but with silver, weight matters more than age. Now here's where silver gets wild. In the late 1970s, 2 Texas brothers tried to corner the entire silver market. Nelson and William Hunt bought up so much silver, they controlled nearly 1/3 of the world's deliverable supply. Prices rocketed from around $6 an ounce to nearly $50. Then, on March 27, 1980, a day now called Silver Thursday, it all came crashing down. Exchange officials changed the trading rules overnight, and the price collapsed almost instantly. The Hunt brothers lost over $1 billion. It remains one of history's biggest cautionary tales about market manipulation. Silver would spike again in 2011, hitting nearly $49 an ounce amid inflation fears. And just like before, it came crashing back down. Silver, it turns out, is one of the most volatile assets on Earth. But why? To understand that, we need to look at what silver actually does. Because unlike gold, silver isn't just sitting in vaults. It's inside your electronics, your car, and even your medical devices. Silver is the best electrical conductor of any element on the periodic table, even better than copper. That's why it's used in high-reliability switches, circuit boards, and connectors. Every smartphone contains a small amount of silver in its wiring. With over 1 billion phones made every year, that adds up fast. Silver also has antimicrobial properties. It can actually kill bacteria. That's why it's used in wound dressings, catheters, and even antibacterial clothing. Silver even reflects more visible light than any other metal on Earth. That's why it's been used in mirrors and high-end optics for centuries. In fact, silver helped birth an entire visual media industry. Early photography, the daguerreotype, relied on silver halides to capture images. Even Thomas Edison's early experiments in sound and image recording depended on silver's unique properties. Without silver, modern photography and recording might have developed completely differently. So here's the twist. Silver isn't hoarded like gold, it's consumed. Roughly half to 60% of all silver demand comes from industrial use. Gold, by contrast, mostly just sits in vaults and jewelry boxes. And here's the counterintuitive part. Much of that industrial silver is never recycled. It ends up in landfills, in old circuit boards gone forever. Which means some analysts believe there could actually be less refined silver above ground than gold. Let that sink in. Silver, the cheap metal, might be rarer in usable form than gold. So why isn't silver priced like it's rare? Part of the answer lies in how silver is mined. About 70% of silver isn't mined on purpose. It's a byproduct. It comes out of mines digging for copper, lead, zinc, or gold. That means silver supply doesn't really respond to silver's own price. Even if silver prices spike, miners aren't digging faster just for silver. This makes silver's supply oddly rigid compared to nearly every other commodity. Now let's talk about the number silver fans love to bring up, the gold to silver ratio. In ancient Rome, 1 ounce of gold was worth about 15 ounces of silver. Today, that ratio often sits between 60 and 100 to 1. Silver bulls argue this means silver is dramatically undervalued and due for a correction. But here's the catch. That old ratio came from government-mandated currency systems. Modern silver demand is driven by factories and solar farms, not monetary law. So there's no guarantee that ratio has to shrink back to ancient levels. It's a popular argument, but not a guaranteed law of economics. There's also the manipulation question, and this one has real history behind it. In 2020, J.P. Morgan paid nearly $1 billion to settle federal charges over spoofing silver and gold futures markets. Spoofing means placing fake orders to trick other traders into bad decisions. That's a documented, proven case, not a conspiracy theory. But it's worth separating real legal cases from the endless online claims of secret, ongoing suppression. Silver's story is dramatic enough without exaggeration. So where does silver go from here? The biggest driver of future demand might be something you've seen on rooftops. Solar panels use silver paste to conduct electricity efficiently. As the world builds more solar farms, that demand for silver grows structurally, not just speculatively. Electric vehicles use more silver than traditional cars too, thanks to their complex electronics. 5G networks, medical technology, and green energy infrastructure all lean on silver's unique properties. This is the paradox. The more the world modernizes, the more silver it quietly needs. But remember, silver supply can't easily speed up to match that demand. Most of it still comes as a byproduct of mining other metals. That mismatch between rising demand and rigid supply is exactly why silver prices swing so violently. It's not just a monetary metal anymore. It's tied to the pulse of global manufacturing. That's why silver moves differently than gold during economic booms and busts. When factories slow down, silver often slows with them. When technology accelerates, silver often accelerates too. So calling silver just cheap gold misses the point entirely. It's a hybrid, part monetary history, part industrial necessity. That dual identity is exactly what makes silver's real value so hard to pin down. It's not purely a safe haven like gold. And it's not purely an industrial commodity like copper either. It sits in a category all its own, old money with a modern job. Think about it. Silver survived being currency, being demonetized, and being cornered by billionaires. And now it's quietly powering the technology shaping our future. That's a resume most metals could never match. So is silver undervalued? Or just misunderstood? Maybe the real value of silver isn't about price at all. Maybe it's about how deeply this one metal is woven into human history and modern life. From ancient marketplaces to soldering circuits, silver has never really stopped working. It just changed jobs. And as our world becomes more electric, more digital, and more solar-powered, silver's next chapter might be its most important one yet. So next time you see something shiny and just silver, look closer. It might be worth more than you ever imagined. If you enjoyed this deep dive, let us know what metal we should